they can take your money and all that good stuff.
I guess we were starting with, these are a couple of outdoor bathrooms that were added on when.
Have these been decommissioned? Yeah. Also?
I don't think so, I don't know.
Well, it's a shame to have them and not use them.
There's water in there that they still work.
There's water, well, it'd probably be on a winter fire if they're gonna, whatever they do.
Oh, water's off.
Oh, but there's water in the bowl?
Water's out.
Is there water in the bowl?
Yeah, there is a little bit, but it's evaporated.
And it not having an opportunity to go down the drains and it ends up staying on the roof.
Here could be, this could be trimmed quite a bit. See how far it's hanging down there?
Yes, ma'am.
Quite a bit, I would say. 10,
But
12.
this, it looks like it has a good roof on there. It's relatively new because it's one of those BCAs or whatever
Yeah, you
they
can
are.
tell,
The
yeah.
plastic roof.
And I
So,
think that had to have been done in the 3 years that I wasn't running.
yeah, because that looks new.
It should not be leaking anymore. Those are guaranteed
Yeah,
for
those are
life.
great
It
roofs.
looks like it was put up there probably
Best
3 years
roof I
ago.
would use.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're guaranteed for
Because
life, though.
when I,
Well,
before USA Pools started running the pool, it was just
are.
asphalt
Back
and gravel
after if there's some
roof up there. So sometime in the last 4 years, the membrane was put up there.
It's got, yeah, and it's got hill.
Sorry, what?
This right here, it appears that water is not coming down the downspout, that it's overflowing and going into the building.
Yeah, it must be full
It's the
of
same
stuff.
thing that I've seen at the Yucca.
And so you probably have standing water up there after all the rains that we've had. And so,
What do you have, about a 3-foot parapet? That drops down to
Well,
the
you can
flat
see
roof?
that,
not sure
the
that-
height of that is probably the parapet
Yeah.
height.
That's what I was thinking.
But
I'm
I've
not
seen
sure
the
if
same
it's-
thing
I'm
at
not
the
sure that
Yucca,
you
and I
have
have
much of a
concern
pitch
about
up
the
there, to be
maintenance.
honest with you.
Uh-huh. Well, it is coming down. It is coming down.
It's coming down,
Yeah.
it's not coming down, it doesn't appear to be coming down here.
No, it
It
doesn't.
appears that it's overflowing because it's clogged.
Right.
I
Full of
have,
leaf
I
material.
have managed property,
Yeah.
and this is one of the things that I have concern about is maintenance. I've expressed the same concern to the Yucca Center for years, and now they're tearing the Yucca Center down because it's flooding, and it appears to me there was a roof issue.
It wasn't.
I'm concerned about the maintenance of city property.
Where the handicap stall is now, they've had to do extensive work in there, in that corner. And that's basically where the big problems come, are in the corners where those spouts, those gutters.
Well, when
are.
did they
So
put that new roof on? When did they do
Probably
that?
within the last 3 years, I'm assuming. There was a 3-year period of time when USA Pools was running the pool and I was not.
Uh-huh.
So it had to have been done in that.
So there should be a guarantee on that, I
So
know.
it's no longer leaking, is
Yeah.
it? It's
We still have gotten water in the light fixtures and stuff, so I assume that there's still some leaking. I didn't even realize that they put that up there, so to be honest with you.
Uh-huh. Well, then they need to get called in. Oh, so this is where they make the snacks?
The concession stand is over here.
Oh,
This
it's
is
another
basically
place.
the guard room, so if we have any accidents or things of that
Okay.
nature, then
You can put them,
we can take care of that type of injury, anything like that, or when the lifeguards are on their break.
I think we
This
have
looks good.
roof leaks. I think there'd be another issue that needs to be,
These are the light fixtures that a lot of times are holding water out the rain, and a lot of the leaking and damage back into this corner. Of course, where we looked at the gutter out there,
Right.
that's
that's right there?
right below where the water comes.
So do they ever get up on that roof? I mean, ever get up on the gutter and check it out?
During the summer, I would,
Yeah.
but
No, you haven't
but
done that.
when I was working for the city, it was only a part-time, so come September, I'm not hired anymore.
So the bathroom, is this the women's bathroom?
This is the women's bathroom.
You know, I'm surprised that when it was leaking, they didn't address that like right away and get the roofing people in here.
Sure.
So this one here, was it also
Same
leaking?
thing, you can see where they've done some stuff with the roof, I mean, you can
Right.
see the difference in the roof, but same thing, once again, this is the corner building where you have that gutter. and so the
Right.
water- the
But
water-
it looks like the new roof is, I mean, because we had the rain.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's not an issue.
It looks dry.
Appears it's better, yes.
Although they probably need to put some more, either open those up or make them bigger or something so they don't clog up so easily.
I think, well, that definitely needs to happen, and there probably needs to be some actual, better than just throwing a Band-Aid on it.
Right, and there's probably, well, there may be more than one, but if there's only one, if it gets clogged up, everything backs up, and so. Well, actually, it's in better shape than I was expecting.
I think it looks
to be honest.
terrific. The
Structurally,
paint
it's in
job
very
is
good
not
shape.
peeling or anything. And the stainless steel things look pretty good.
Well, these don't meet the current ADA requirements, and so, you know, if we were to renovate, they'd have to be.
So that only happens when you renovate, that you have to bring it up?
Once you go to do this, you have
If you
to
left it the
meet
way it
current-
is,
If you leave it the way it is, then you stay within.
you stay.
your current guidelines, but if you
Okay.
start to renovate, then you have to start meeting the new.
Usually, it's a percentage of the
And
the
why don't
building,
they
I mean,
meet the 80, what's wrong
well,
with that?
they're not big enough. I mean, this is
This is the handicap?
this one is when the building was built. I'm sure there was another stall here, probably.
Uh-huh.
There was.
And so that they updated it, but it's still not quite. It's not big enough for the
Oh, handicap, really?
for all of the handicap requirements. It should be on that side over there rather than on this side here, and it should be. The dimensions aren't quite big
Uh-huh.
enough.
You mean they have to turn that around, is that what you're saying?
Well, it should be opposite the door. It should be in this corner over here. I mean, the ADA is there's lots of specifics about it, but it's a fairly
It's
accessible.
a very generous, I think.
It's fairly accessible. I mean, it's
And the
not.
door is wide.
And this is probably about the time that we did the addition to the building.
Could be higher.
Was when we redid these
Right.
bathroom stalls and in the women's bathroom and in here and the shower handles and stuff. But one of the things that we run into problems with, that one of the things that probably needs to be done is all of the shower handles and those functions that need
Have
to
to
be
be
replaced.
handicapped.
So since it's only open during the summer, is there a heating system or
There is a heating system in here in case when we have those. I mean, it's not very often that it happens here in Roswell, but we do have those.
but there
periods
is
of
some
time
air
where-
conditioning. It's just a.
We do
furnace.
have air conditioning. It's evaporative cooler for during
Okay.
the summer, but during the winter there are some heaters placed in some different places to protect the plumbing. more
Oh, to
than
keep it
anything
from
else.
freezing?
Okay.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Summer after Labor Day,
Yeah.
typically, we'll go ahead and do all the, put
Winter.
away, like, we put all these things away. And we do have a handicap shower deal right here. But as you can see, all these handles and stuff, I mean, we're at a stage where we keep trying to replace handles and things like that. But the kids, when they come in here, they're pretty
Rough and.
rough on the materials and stuff.
Uh-huh.
This is an equipment room where we keep all the supplies and stuff, and so you see a heating type
Yeah,
of deal right
yeah, yeah.
there because we actually have access to the plumbing for those showers right in this room.
Oh.
We really don't have that same type of access in the women's bathroom as we do for the men's bathroom. But,
Is all the supply plumbing in the ceiling or is it in the slab? Or
well,
combination?
it all runs up in the ceiling and then drops down into these areas. And there is still some of the old, as you look up there, there's still some of the old plumbing that's not PVC or newer. But
Is there any pipe? Is there any asbestos in the pipes that you're aware of?
no. I mean, you can see the pipes from here if you want to come in and look, but I don't.
So asbestos really an issue with this building. I mean, the tile may have some in it, but the other thing
Yeah,
it's really
but
not.
I think that tile is not old.
I couldn't tell you how
It
far
doesn't
back.
look that old to have asbestos, though. It could be in the
But from the
1940s.
70s, I think that's probably from the 70s and 80s.
Was originally the concession stand,
Okay,
and the office was where that door's at.
okay.
The addition went over, and the concession is right in there. If you guys want to.
Yeah, might as well. So none of these corners are leaking, just those corners in the bathroom.
So where you see this right here, this was originally the end of the building. So this was, before they did the addition, this was my office. And right under here is the main supply where we can turn the water on and off to the whole building.
Oh, okay.
Was originally the concession stand,
Okay,
and the office was where that door's at.
okay.
The addition went over, and the concession is right in there if you guys want to.
Yeah, might as well. So none of these corners are leaking, just those corners in the bathroom.
So where you see this right here, this was originally the end of the building. So this was, before they did the addition, this was my office. And right under here is the main supply where we can turn the water on and off to the whole building.
Oh, okay.
You have to have hot water for the showers when people come in and shower. So
And they're not that hot.
right.
So what is this? This is the hot water heater?
This is a hot water heater.
Okay.
And this is a holding tank at this particular stage.
Do you use this holding tank? Did you use that?
The water basically, once it's heated, it'll come in here and then.
Oh, okay.
So.
Like three years ago, but it's supposed to have water in it. I mean, because
Absolutely.
you know, one for the pressure, and the other is to keep it cool. It's been sitting here baking all summer long.
Plaster has to have water to survive.
Exactly.
It begins to pull out of the air, it tries to pull moisture
The
out of the
water,
air,
you need it in
and then it
equilibrium.
pulls away.
Exactly.
And that's why we're getting the spider cracks and this and that. That's
the
what
city.
happens.
I mean, if it had water in it, it would even be less of a condition than it is now.
Absolutely.
It's been empty all summer long in 110 temperatures.
Absolutely.
And so the city has really screwed it.
Yeah, the plaster's drying out, it's pulling away.
This
This is the cream coat. That's off right here. This
Yeah.
is the plaster, this is the cream coat. Whenever they come back and finish troweling, that's the cream coat that's on top. And that's what, it's drying out.
But there's a very simple test for the bucket pressure code community. You put about 6 inches of water in the bucket, open the bucket in there and fill it up the same number. And then you come back in a day or two and see if they've both gone down at the same rate. There's no leak. If the other, I mean, it costs nothing. And I suggested the city do that test. But I think you're scared to do that.
We do it in a matter of minutes, we can tell.
Exactly.
If you got water loss. In a matter of minutes, we can tell.
And I think that's why they bring the pool the day of the close it. They didn't want anyone to
Harold Dean's my name.
oh, Donald Darty. I'm an architect.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
Are you from here?
I'm from here in Minnesota. Because they left the water in it over the winter like you're supposed to. And I walk my dog by here all the time, so I kind of watched it. And it dropped about this much over the course of the winter, which is that's what you kind of expect.
You're going to lose water.
But I don't think it's not really losing no matter what they say about it.
If you think that he has his cavitating under here,
Exactly.
drill your hole in there and find out. You drill and plug it. We do it all. That's how you find out if it's
They
cavitating.
do a test with it, it would cost the city $0. I mean, they say, well, we can't spend
absolutely.
$20,000 on another study. You don't need to spend any money on this study. So, I agree.
Absolutely. If you put staples in here, we staple that.
Right.
That's what you do.
Oh, really?
So how would you fix this crack?
I would have fixed it.
How would you fix it?
Well, we have a lot of new methods today to fix this crack in here. We have all types of material, foam material that we can fix vertical, horizontal cracks. We come in and we staple this back together. Carbide staples, they hold this, put them about 8 inches apart across here.
How much would it cost? What's a good estimate from a pool man?
You have to figure these things out. It's not that big a deal.
It's not that big a deal.
It's not that.
That valve has to open and close so that we can come in here.
Because you have to drain this.
And clean all the screens off. So you have to be able to open and close that. And really and truly, that right there also, it kind of manages how much water you're allowing to come from the pool to be in here to keep the system up and running also.
But you said you can't close that completely.
Can't close it completely, and basically, to be honest with you, since I'm not working for the city anymore, I can say this, but we were doing things that if the city safety person was coming in here while we were working in here, we would be in a lot of trouble, because we were having to go down into there just to lift that, to get it open. And then we were having to get that in there just to try to get it closed.
Now, can that be replaced? Can that valve, be replaced? That?
I'm sure it can. I mean, I don't know, it's a unique, in my opinion, it's a unique valve. There's probably somewhere out there, but when you go around and look at it, you'll see that it's a very large one, and the valve is probably, I want to say, a 12 to 14-inch opening like that you have to be able to open and close. So I'm sure it can be replaced. I just don't know what the cost on something like that would be.
So I mean, it was draining. So if there's a hole or something in the drain pipe, then it's not.
Let me just say, somewhere in that point in time, from when I ran the pool last, to when USA Pools was running the pool, to when I drained the pool the night of the meeting, somewhere in that 4-year period, that plumbing out there was changed to some degree to where draining the pool, either they put in a new valve that I'm not aware of out there, but just opening right behind here is the main drain valve, okay? And so when I opened that main drain valve up, it ended up pushing water up out of a manhole that's just outside the fence. And so it only drained down to a certain level, which is part of the gravity deal. So someone said that there was another valve out there that you'd have to open to be able to drain the rest of it out. I'm not aware of that, but I do know that the night of that meeting, and I explained to Lisa and then real quick that the reason why we went and drained the pool that night was there was going to be one of two things that happened after that meeting. One of them was that we were going to open the pool up for the summer, and if that was going to be the case, we were draining this pool so that we could clean it properly and have it ready to open, because it was so bad. And the summer before, we had battled so hard and spent so much money on chemicals just trying to battle the algae, that we were going to drain it and clean it properly and refill it immediately. And if the city decided to decommission it, we can't leave a body of water sitting out here because it's a liability for the city of Roswell. So
If the pool is still in use, it's supposed to be full year round, and so that it would be full all winter anyway. And so how could you have a bigger liability?
And it stayed that way. They didn't drain the pool for 2.5 years.
Exactly. But there was an issue about the pool, how much water the pool was leaking, if any. And once you drained the pool, the day after the meeting, there was no way to
Well, we came over and just from knowledge, the pool was losing about a foot of water overnight.
But there's a bucket test, and you could have had some independent person observe that, because personally I don't believe that.
I understand that perspective, but it was one of those that we left the pool full for 2.5 years as a liability for the city.
And last winter the pump didn't run at all, did it?
No.
The water was like emerald green and it had moss growing. This
So
had
maybe
6 inches
that's
of
why they
moss.
had the algae problem, because they never.
So they didn't run the pool at all.
They were running it, and they were using a robotic deal to clean the bottom of the pool. And to be really honest with you, the day before we did this workshop for the city councilors and everybody, I came over here to look and see what everything looked like. And at that particular point in time, the water level of the pool was probably down about 3 feet. And this room was, as you see it right now. And when we came in the next day, the pool was filled all the way up to its work, and this was all operating so that the city councilors could see what was at the operation of the pool. So I don't know what the period of time was that they had the system turned off and weren't operating it, but I do know that the pool was down probably 3 feet.
You're not talking about the night of the meeting where they actually decommissioned the pool. You're talking about the
I'm
right
talking
before
about the night before the city council.
That was the March retreat meeting that they had at the chamber.
But it's not when they actually voted.
Well, there wasn't much water in there anyway, because I walked.
It was
Here,
full,
every
because we
month.
came and we gave a tour of
It was done up to
to all the
top.
councilors. In fact, that was
But
we
that
were
was
surprised that nobody from the press showed up, but it was a retreat.
exactly. But it was later whenever they actually voted officially.
Yeah.
It was probably 2 weeks later that they
Right.
voted. But you're correct. You were talking about coming by here and seeing the pool level down.
Yeah, it was down.
That was because, and that's what I'm talking about. It was down and the pool was, you're leaking out to where it's leaking, it wasn't being operated, that was the day before the city councilors came in to do the workshop.
But if you
That
can't
afternoon
close
or
that
that night.
valve, is that valve, you told me you use that valve when you're letting the water out at the end of the year, is that right?
The valve out there is the one that is closed and open to.
Let the water out
let the water
through
to
the river.
Right, this valve right here is all part of this circulation
system.
right here. So this allows the water to come in and be kept out of the filter room. So that really doesn't affect the drainage of the pool.
Now, I don't know much about municipal pools. I mean, I'm residential where you have sand traps and that type of thing, you know, they're self-flushing, but do municipals have that type of filter? I mean, is this kind of an antiquated filter system we have here?
Well, that's what I was telling Perry. I mean, the diatomaceous earth filtration system is the purest, cleanest, keeps the water clear filtration system. So the Rio Dosa pool, their municipal pool works off of a diatomaceous earth system. A lot of pools work off of high rate or low rate sand filters. Some of your hotel and apartment complexes work off of cartridge filters. But as far as a pool of this size and a pool of the capacity of people that we have in and out, to keep that clarity of water, this is the single best filtration system that you can use to do that.
But you have to physically clean these
Correct.
every couple of weeks.
We clean these filters just to try and help keep the pump operating the way it is every 4 to 5 days.
Well, I mean, any system like that, you have to keep the filters clean,
Exactly,
Typically with the high rate sand filter, if you were to go out to the university and talk to them about their system, they have a high rate sand system out there that they're probably almost backwashing on a daily basis. So, I mean.
but it doesn't require physical labor. I mean, you just,
No.
it's just turn a valve.
No.
Here you have to have someone come in here and actually clean these.
Correct. Right. You have to clean off the screens and flush them and then put more.
So you're saying the new pool is going to have a filter system like this, you think, or?
That'll be something that the people that are bringing.
The consultants are the experts, have been doing it, if you attended, you were there.
Right.
I mean, they know their business, that's why they were hired.
For,
They'll make the recommendation of, depending on the facility, what type of filtration.
that's a good question to ask.
Efficiency, operation, and maintenance is what we're looking at.
Right.
right, so there's, whatever they come to us with, I mean, we'll have discussion. And if I'm part of that discussion, I'll ask them that question. If they're not talking about a diatomaceous earth system, I'll ask them, well, what about doing it this way? Is that something that would be feasible for this facility that you're proposing to us? Just because I have that knowledge of the difference between the filtering agents.
After this tour, I kind of have the same impression that I had before, so that the pool may be leaking water, but it's not the physical pool that's leaking, it's the pipes. And it sounds like that's the case whenever the pumps are running and the water is going through the circulation system is leaking, but the pool itself, in talking to Mr. Dean, who has installed pools here for ever in Roswell, he seems to also think the pool shell itself is not leaking very much water.
Yeah,
It's
and
the pipes.
I would probably beg to differ that the expansion joints, that you probably have some issues, but that's.
Well, you might be leaking a little water, but I just can't believe it's the amount of water
Well, that can be tested though, can it not?
and it can be corrected too.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't understand why the city must come forward, you know, with all the money they've spent in the last 6 months, not on this pool, but on other things, why they couldn't allocate $15,000-$20,000 to have an expert come in here?
Well, the other thing is they spent $300,000 to reline the pool, and it is.
And that's an investment.
Since it's been sitting there empty all summer in 110-degree temperature, it has.
What's happened to that?
There's no telling how much damage has been done just over this summer.
Well, and I would tell you, leading up to the pool being drained this summer, after they did this particular work, every Labor Day we drain the pool. That pool has always been drained every year for the last 30 years.
Well, then the water that was in there this winter then
it's
was
not
from the
supposed-
snow.
No. Let me understand you real quick. When Leisure Pools did the work that they did, there was supposedly a warranty on the work that they did, okay? The city never drained the pool. okay? Pool wasn't drained until the night of the city council meeting, okay, plain and simple. Was there a warranty? No. Was it a recommendation? That was their recommendation, was not to drain it. Like I said, we drained it one of two reasons. We were either gonna clean it and refill it and put it to use, or we were draining it so that it wasn't a liability. Now, leading up to Leisure Pool doing that work, back to where you thought what I was saying, back to before they did the work they did, the city drained the pool every year on Labor Day, and the pool was empty until
But that's
until
not
the
the way.
May, when we painted it and refilled it and got it up and running for the next season.
But any pool's gonna have to follow the same rules.
Because they hadn't been able to drain it. And typically, when you get a bad situation with algae and stuff, the best way and the most cost-effective way is to go ahead and drain that swimming pool and acidize it and get that root of the algae out of there, and then refill it and start over. But last year, I mean, there was probably at least 7 times to 8 times through the summer that I had myself and my son and others out in the pool in scuba gear, you know, after and when the guys from Leisure Pool came in last summer and kind of pointed out some of these cracks to them and this and that, I said, hey, you know, we've got a hell of an algae problem here. You know, you just need to put more chlorine in there. Well, I'm telling you right now, our chlorine levels were between 4 and 5 throughout most of the summer, which is high, but it's not too high. And we were putting algicide in there. We were spending a lot of money on chemicals to try and keep the algae at bay. But we would go in there and scrub and do everything, and it wouldn't be 10 days, 12 days later that algae was coming back.
And you couldn't drain it completely at that time because of the new valve?
We still thought that we were under, we still thought that we were under this conception that if we drained it, that the warranty that Leisure Pools had on it would go, when it turns out that there was never any warranty, it was just a recommendation not to drain it. So, I mean, you know, you can take a pool, if there's a recommendation or whatever, drain it, clean it, and refill it, I mean, no big deal. Shouldn't be. But because there was this myth of a warranty, it was like, no, we're not draining it.
So the city staff thought there was a warranty, but indeed there wasn't.
That's my understanding. But of course, the person that I think that was really overseeing this project was no longer on staff for the city of Roswell.
The person who had overseen the leisure pool.
That is correct.
The leisure pool.
You're no longer employed with that.
the contract.
So that Kinsley.
Correct.
So you couldn't really.
But the paperwork was with the city, though, right? That could have been looked at.
Well, that was where the paperwork, when Mayor Kintai, of course, this is all a project that was done before Mayor Kintai became the mayor. So once he started looking into what it actually cost and all the paperwork on this deal, that was when that paperwork came up that showed that there was not a warranty but a recommendation from Leisure Pools on the draining of the pool.
Well, I understand that paperwork was lost.
I don't.
And then they suddenly found it. So,
I have no
it was
idea.
lost when we asked to look at it.
And I heard everything from $400,000 to $325,000 on what that cost. But I will tell you real quick that in my opinion, and from what I experienced last summer, that the tile work that they did around the pool was an absolute waste of money and created another liability for the city of Roswell. Because I had kids that were stepping on that and slipping and falling, people that were getting out of the pool by pushing up and their hands were going out and busting their chins on the wall. And if they did that tile work, maybe they should have done it on the wall, but they should have never done it on that lip. And that is another liability that we need to address before we reopen the pool.
We publicize it, and we discuss all kinds of pending issues, critical issues. The pool is one of them. We came out here, and I remember because I was pushing Jason Terry on the wheelchair, because he was in the wheelchair that time, so I pushed him all around here in the facility. And same thing, kind of what we did here. We was answering questions And also was given to the council, it was open to the public. As far as what they did during the winter, they were getting ready.
Yeah.
They were getting ready, they were keeping it clean and
Yeah. No, I-
As clean as they could. I mean, once again, I'm gonna tell you real quick, keeping this